Hola, how are you feeling? Yes? Yes, still alive. Excellent. So this is the last session of today, and it will be a very intense and interesting panel session. I would like to introduce, first of all, and thank her for being here today, Macarena Cuenca, the Dean of the University of Deusto. Please.
So good afternoon, everyone. And well, as I'm Dean of the Deusto Business School, not of the University of Deusto. We have a rector and we have different faculties. But as Dean of Deusto Business School, it's a true pleasure to welcome you here, this special event, which is the presentation of the academic paper, Blazing the Trail, Describing and Assessing a New Policy Instrument whereby Indirect Tax Incentives Fuel Collaborative Innovation. Wow, that's the title. We are delighted that this event takes place within the framework of the World Open Innovation Conference. Let me start by expressing our heartfelt thanks to the Provincial Council of Vizcaya, and especially to Mrs. Itxaso Berrojalviz, Deputy for Finance, and her team, for their close collaboration throughout this project and for the invitation to join you here today. This research is especially meaningful for several reasons. First, it introduces and analyzes a novel tax break initiative, the 64B mechanism, which had not been previously studied in the academic literature. Second, it is also the first paper to assess its impact on sustainable collaborative business innovation, particularly knowledge creation and intangible capital. And third, the study applies a rigorous empirical approach and notably has been published in Research Policy, one of the world's leading journal in innovation studies. Finally, it is an honor to count among the co-authors Professor Henry Chesbrough, whose pioneering work on open innovation underpins much of the research we celebrate today. At its heart, this paper is about collaboration. The 64-based mechanism designed by the Provincial Council of Vizcaya promotes collaboration between companies by enabling those with innovative projects but limited taxable income to partner with larger firms that can provide financial support through indirect tax incentives. In doing so, it helps bridge the gap between large and small enterprises and encourages connections with universities and research centers, strengthening so the ties between the public sector, academia, and the private sector. This paper also embodies international collaboration. Its authors come from leading institutions around the world: the University of Edinburgh in Scotland, the University of Vaasa in Finland, the Haas School of Business at UC Berkeley in the US, Luis University in Rome, Italy, and the University of Granada in the Deusto Business School here in Spain. The findings offer solid evidence that the 64-based policy has had a positive and measurable impact on our innovation ecosystem. Developers benefiting from this mechanism acquired significantly more knowledge and intangible assets than comparable firms did who did not participate. In short, this initiative not only brings liquidity, it builds bridges, strengthens cooperation, and nurtures a vibrant ecosystem of collaborative innovation. We can be proud that Vizcaya is pioneering an innovative fiscal instrument that may serve as a benchmark for other regions worldwide, truly blazing the trail for the future of collaborative innovation policy. And now, to explore the specifics of this 64-based mechanism and its policy implications in greater depth, it is my pleasure to give the floor to Mrs. Itxaso Berrojalviz, Deputy for Finance of the Provincial Council of Vizcaya. Thank you.
Arratsaldeon eta eskerrik asko. I would like to begin by expressing my deep gratitude, first, to the organizers of the World Open Innovation Conference for choosing Bilbao as the venue for their annual meeting. Second, and in particular, to the authors of the paper being presented today, which focuses on one of the most innovative initiatives at the international level in the field of promoting R&D and I, namely the system for transferring the tax credit linked to such activities laid out in Article 64 bis of Biscay Corporate Income Tax Law. I will be brief, as we have a tight program this afternoon. However, I would like to outline the context in which the institutions of the Basque Country face the challenge of innovation and their response to it. All regions, including the Basque Country, face a double challenge when designing their innovation policies. On the one hand, we must adapt, interpret, and translate the global challenges in the international community to the special situation and characteristics that define our own environment. On the other hand, we must take into account the diverse legal and institutional status of each region and consequently adapt our initiatives and policies to our specific jurisdictional situation insofar as these specific capacities will allow us to design and develop more or less ambitious policies. With regard to the first of these challenges, the Basque administrations at all levels are known for our firm commitment to making the Basque Country, and Biscay in particular, an innovative, competitive, and attractive territory for investment and for developing research projects. There are more and many examples of this. The successive science, technology, and innovation plans approved by the Basque government, the latest of which has a horizon of 2030. Second, the Basque Innovation Agency, NoBasque. 3, the Basque Institute of Competitiveness Orchestra. And 4, the promotion, development, and fostering of competitiveness in companies supported by BEAS or ESPRI. All these initiatives show our clear goal. We make Biscay, and to make Biscay an innovative, creative, dynamic, and entrepreneurial territory in which competitiveness and social cohesion guarantee the well-being of our society. This building, the VAT Accelerator Tower, where we are holding our event, is another great example. Its mission statement says, we want the VAT Accelerator Tower to be the most important and best connected innovation hub in Southern Europe, a focal point and magnet for entrepreneurial talent and open innovation, where startups, corporations, investors, and government work together. As a result of all these initiatives, according to the latest Regional Innovation Scoreboard results presented by the European Commission, the Basque Country ranks as one of the most innovative regions in Europe, with an index above the European average of 180 and 81st place among the 233 regions evaluated. Just a few years ago, in 2019, the index position was 79 and we ranked 132nd. So we can get an idea of the effort that both the private sector and the administration are making to achieve this goal of transforming the Basque Country into a highly competitive territory. As for the second challenge, I would like to highlight the tax capacity of the Basque institutions called historical territories, which makes the Basque Country unique in the comparative law, where a region is empowered to design its own tax system and decide how and how much tax citizens should pay. It is the economic agreement, a legal instrument that will soon celebrate 150 years of history, which recognizes the capacity of the historical territories, Araba, Vizcaya, and Gipuzkoa, to establish, design, and maintain their own tax regime. It's therefore the economic agreement that allows us to design measures such as Article 64 bis of Biscay Corporate Income Tax Law, which we are analyzing today. We have many examples of the use of tax incentives to stimulate economic growth, create jobs, and promote the competitiveness of our companies in Biscay. The adoption of some of these measures even raised the question of whether our tax capacity complies with EU regulations on state aid, precisely because of its regional scope. Problems that have now been happily overcome. Let me now focus on the Article 64B's tax scheme. Obviously, I'm not going to describe the incentive mechanism, as it is well known to all of you, but rather I want to focus on its purpose and justification. The tax incentive policy for R&D is a classic feature of Vizcaya's tax system, which includes deduction that I go there to describe as generous for the development of these activities. Recently, with the approved tax review, they have even been strengthened and expanded with the incorporation of a specific incentive for R&D linked to sustainable development. However, from a tax policy perspective, we find ourselves faced with the paradox that economic agents are able to generate a significant volume of tax incentives in the form of deduction from their corporate tax liability, but they cannot fully use them due to various circumstances, mainly insufficient tax liability to absorb the tax benefits. If we look at the available data, the use of deduction generated in R&D and I activities does not reach 30% on average per year. This circumstance significantly limits the effectiveness of the incentive and therefore discourages, or at least does not stimulate enough the development of investment linked to R&D or in innovative activities. If we add to the difficulties faced by new, innovative startups in accessing adequate and sufficient financing, especially in the first few years after their creation, we find ourselves with undesirable limitations to the development of an ecosystem that favors innovation, competitiveness, and the creation of new business realities. This challenge is one that the system of transferring R&D and I-related deductions incorporated into Article 64B of the Corporate Income Tax Law has sought to address, facilitating collaboration between innovators and financiers in order to enable the development of new business experiences and projects, as demonstrated by the numerous success stories, some of which we will have the pleasure of seeing later. In fact, considering the corporate income tax data from the last 5 fiscal years, the number of projects funded has increased fourfold. I don't want to go on any longer, but I don't want to miss this opportunity to congratulate and thank again Henry Chesbrough and his team for their interest in analyzing and exploring Article 64B's scheme. Although it is just one of many that exist in comparative law, we believe it is a complementary and efficient tool for classic incentive policies, stimulating, as the professor himself points out in the paper, collaborative innovation systems, which are rapidly becoming the real driving force behind innovation. Eskerrik asko, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, speaking of which, this is the moment for our own Henry Chesbrough to speak a little bit more about this incredible scheme that they have here. So, please, Henry, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon. Can you all hear me? Yes. Great. We've already had a great 2 speakers explain much of the context for the paper. And I have only been given 5 minutes to actually tell you about the paper itself. Happily, thanks to the 2 speeches we've had, you already now understand much of the motivation and the context for what I'm about to share. So that will let me go fast. So thank you. I'm really pleased to hear that the scheme is continuing, and if I understood correctly, expanding. You said 4-fold. So let's look into the paper and see what's going on. and I'm going to thank a couple of more people along the way. Oh, I have to point here. Yeah. So we have some very important people here who were part of this. So thank all of you. But there's someone who is on a plane right now to Bilbao who is not with us, who was also an important contributor. And Koldo, I would describe him as an example of what we've talked about in our conference as an orchestrator, which means he didn't do any of the work. But he made the connections and introductions and support, probably answered a lot of questions that came up along the way, and helped make it possible for the rest of us to do our work. And since he can't be here, I wanted to acknowledge him. The other thing I want to acknowledge is 2 years ago, we were back here in Bilbao with our colleagues from Deusto. Yeah, they're from Deusto there. And I think that meeting really helped accelerate the work that I'm going to show you now. So here are the authors. It's a good-looking group. There's an older guy over on the right, but we were a good team on this paper. We've already discussed most of this, so this is a case where I can go quickly. We know from lots of research, going all the way back to Ken Arrow, that R&D tax incentives can stimulate additional research, and that this is good for society because the private gains from R&D are less than the social gains from R&D because of spillovers. Knowledge that you learn along the way that is not captured by the firm that did the research, but spills over to the rest of society. So a healthy society wants a lot of R&D, and so we want to stimulate that. One of the assumptions prior to this project is that we should stimulate the companies that have earned these credits, but sometimes some of the great ideas that are out there are in small or medium-sized companies, maybe family companies. And these companies, as was said, may not have enough tax liability themselves to benefit from this, but they have a lot to contribute. So here is a mechanism that can address that. So what if we make it transferable instead? And that is what we said in the paper, our data. Oh, am I cutting out? Okay. So this is a transferable incentive, and that's one of the innovations in this mechanism. So it isn't only that the person who incurs the expense has to have the tax liability to be able to benefit from it, precisely because it can be transferred to someone else. And our data run from 2017 to 2021. As we've now learned, the program continues and has grown even further, and I'm really pleased to hear that. What about open innovation in such a world? Well, we no longer limit innovation to just one or two firms. It becomes multi-party, sometimes even in ecosystems and clusters. And so we need mechanisms that can keep up with the collaborative aspects of innovation in a multi-party context. And so this mechanism is a response to some of these opportunities, as we heard. So much of this was already explained. Our data ended in 2021. It's administered here in Biscaya. And the way that it was explained to me, and it may have changed some, so we'll find out, an enterprise submits a qualification report. That report is assessed to see if it qualifies. Then it specifies the amount of activity involved and what portion would qualify for this mechanism. It also identifies the sponsoring enterprise and the receiving enterprise. So here's where we can transfer from one party to another. And there's a separate incentive for the sponsoring organization, the one that is directing the incentive to another organization. So in a sense, it really is one of these win-win situations. So our research question was, all right, that's the mechanism and how it works. What are the results? And as was stated, this is the first time that this has been studied. So as we have talked about yesterday and today, coming across unique data sets, it's a good research strategy. So we have one here. What did we find? And this will be my last slide, and then we will go, Marco, over to our panel. We found that there is a positive impact from this 64 BIS mechanism. And the way we determined that is we measured the change in the intangible assets of the organizations participating in the program and receiving these incentives. For some of you, this is Tobin's Q, would be the dependent variable that was used in the study. We find knowledge acquisition benefits. And interestingly, there's another program that's going on that also is providing incentives. And so we were able to make comparisons between this new mechanism and the more traditional mechanism. And so one of our findings was that over and above the benefits of the earlier mechanism, there is a separate improvement for receiving this mechanism. We think also that there was an experience effect. Each year of our 5-year period, the number of organizations engaging were increasing, and now we know that increase continued a whole lot further. And so our final finding is that mechanisms like this work very well in environments where small and medium enterprises are an important part of the innovation capability of the region and can overcome some of the resource limitations that might otherwise be present and limit the realization of that potential. I think that's all I have to say. So thanks again to all of you.
You can stay because you are in the panel. Yes, thank you very mumuch. And so now we are going to hear the stories from the main characters of this 64 BIS mechanism. And so I would like to call on the table Ferran Vendrell Herrero, Associate Professor in International Management at Deusto Business School, Gemma Martinez, Deputy Director of Advisory and Tax Policy, Provincial Council of Biscay, then Roberto Mariscal, Innovation Director of Iberdrola Spain, and Gorka Hermoso, CFO of the H2 site. And I will start with Ferran, who happens to be the first author of this beautiful paper on research policy. Is there something that you would like to add to Henry's summary of the paper?
Well, difficult, but I think I can add probably something. First of all, it's an honor to be here, and thank you for inviting me to come on this conference for this activity. And something we also did was to survey the companies, so some of the beneficiaries. So we not all, but most of the beneficiaries, and we did an analysis about the configuration. So that means for some of you that may not know that methodology, but just basically to know what are the conditions that enable to create more knowledge, more success in these relationships. Actually, when we went deeper into these 40 companies that we were surveying, we realized that in some of the cases, the knowledge transfer was very high. In other cases, the knowledge transfer was much weaker. So we wanted to understand the main factors. So we came into some recommendations, and we'll have here my notes. But some of the things was, for example, trying to ensure that both the financier and the recipient, they know each other rather than from a consultancy company. They are matched in a way that it's more informal. They know each other. There's trust. So we found that previous trust in that relationship to be important. Perhaps that something can be confirmed by then the financier and the recipients that we have. Another thing that we got was about the idea of once you have a pair of financier and the recipient, just to do the initiative once, just the same pair, don't repeat multiple times, because then we could observe that the knowledge transfer decreased. The other initiative, it was important to be just the first time. The knowledge transfer is quite high. Once you have this pair for a longer period, it's the idea that to create an ecosystem. That's different if the same financier, like for example Iberdrola, does the job with multiple companies. That's okay. Or if it's one company that basically receives a different financier in a different project, that should be okay as well. But just repeating the same pair, which at the end of the day is trying to get advantage of the system to some extent, our results seems to suggest that that's not a good route. They may just have more practical experience and may confirm if that results are okay.
Okay, thank you very much. And I would like to ask to Hema about the data and history about how this 64 bis is going on. Yes? And I also can
Good
give you
afternoon.
another microphone.
Well, before getting into the details of whatever I'm going to try to speak about very briefly, I would really like to thank all these universities which have chosen Vizcaya, such a small region in the big world, and you have gave us the possibility to be at the academic level, so that's like an honor for us. And talking about the origin of this 64 bis, in 2017 we had two goals at Vizcaya. One was to broaden the tools to finance R&D and I activities, but the other one was to strengthen the ecosystem for these activities. And after reading your paper and listening to all of you, I see that we've made it. We didn't know what was going to be the result, but we've made it. So we thought that the best way to do this was to use our ability to design taxes. And we thought that an efficient use of taxes would give us the possibility to get our goals. So what we did, we designed a public-private system to collaborate to perform all these activities. And this mechanism tries to combine private goals and public goals at the same time in an efficient way. So in a way, we were like putting into practice your theory, but we didn't really know what that we were doing it, but it was like the theory of open innovation truly. So at that time, we didn't know if the 64 bis was going to be a success or a failure. Now in 2025, we can say, we can confirm that is a key tool in our territory for private financing for RD&I. And I'm going to offer you some data because I see your data are quite rusty. So I'm going to give you some 2024 data. And in 2024, we have 1,076 projects performed by 738 companies, and which have been certified by our public agencies, ESPRI and BEAS, and they amount a total of 450 million investment. So that's like quite high. They are high numbers. And out of them, we have like 80 funders in 150 projects. So we are quite happy about the results and the outcome. As Itxaso Berrojalbiz, the deputy, has mentioned, and you have also remarked, is 4 times bigger than when we implemented this measure. And after 8 years of practice, we can confirm that this has been a success. So this is so successful that we've extended it to another 2 fields. In 2023, we extended it to those engaged in film and audiovisual productions. And now, at this very moment, we are passing by a law at Vizcaya's parliament, Juntas Generales, which is for those who are engaged with activities with decarbonization and energy transition. So, as you see, we created, the results are quite okay, and now we are trying to expand it into another field. Finally, I just want to highlight the Vizcaya's commitment to supporting innovation through these actions. We would like to keep consistent tax policies and long-term commitments so we can attract private investment and we can build trust. We believe trust is really important for investors and also for all policies. We would also like, well, we are doing it and we will keep on doing, we will keep on guaranteeing legal certainty and transparency through clear and public tax criteria. That's what we are trying to do at Itxaso's office. We stay close to taxpayers. We are acting as real partners in their business activities. We want to see taxpayers to see us not as somebody was talking to me before entering and saying, oh, Hacienda, oh, Treasury, nobody likes you. No, we want to be real partners for business. Yes, I'm talking about you, don't you? Yes. And we also want to strengthen cooperation among public agencies, tax administrations, and private stakeholders to improve coordination and results. And my last sentence is going to be that we truly believe that 64Bs shows how we consider tax administration should work today by providing credibility, legal certainty, closeness to taxpayers, and collaboration with all stakeholders. Thank you very much.
So this is the second time in the panel that I hear the word trust, and I have the feeling this is not going to be the last one. Now we are going to hear the story of two companies that have benefited of this program, and starting from Roberto from Iberdrola, please.
Many thanks to the authorities, Beat, Innovasque, and of course the organizers for your passion. Well, very easy. We use 64Bs, 64Bs to empower our suppliers to develop a supply chain for the energy transition. Okay. That's our goal. And we are a company, Iberdrola. We will invest 58 billion euros in the next 3 years, 2/3 of them in the United States and the UK. And the products that will be developed all over the world are designed and developed here in Vizcaya. Well, not all, but a great part of them. A great part of them. And the point is that we are a company of assets. We have around 160 billion euros in assets, generation facilities, power lines, substations. So for us, the suppliers are a key partner for us. And with that mechanism, we can make it happen because we share our vision about the future. Electrification is unstoppable. We share what we need. We share our technical specifications, and the suppliers develop new products, new services, new equipments, new solutions, software and hardware for the energy transition. We do have a physical center where we can do all this together. You will visit tomorrow, part of you guys, because it's here in Bilbao, in Larraskitu, the Global Smart Grids Innovation Hub. And thanks to the 64Bs, because it's 64Bs, is unique. Gemma, you say it very well. For us, it's very, very important. It's also, you all know, have a clear framework for the future. Trust, long-term vision, stability, predictability, what we at Iberdrola, and I will say all the private companies want, a clear framework, please. We just need a clear framework. But other very positive things regarding incentives. It is easy to use. With just one very good contract, we can do a lot of operations. So it's very easy to use. Or suppliers receive the money in advance, it's very easy. And that's another very big advantage of this incentive. So just to finalize, two ideas. One, electrification is unstoppable. And the second one is true that 64Bs is unique. 64Bs, but please, other regions of the world, take this example into account because it really helps to private companies to move forward. because at the end, we are always partners. It's compulsory.
That's what I said.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, let's see the other side of the moon. What's your experience with this program, Gorka, with CFO of HSI?
So I am representing the other side of the coin. Mm-hmm. So we are the developer which has used this scheme for developing a technology, right? So Carlos was saying the electrification is unstoppable. I am saying what electrification cannot do, hydrogen will do, okay? So we agree on that. So we are a spin-off of a technical center that is called Technalia. Probably most of you know it, and a university that is in Holland, Technical University of Eindhoven. They develop strong technology during a decade through different funding schemes, and we took that and we are trying to put that into the market. So you can imagine that the technology is kind of a deep tech technology, right? And the deep tech companies as ours have twofold problems. So one of them is we need to take out risk of the technology, so we need to industrialize. This requires a lot of funding. And on the other side, the market that we are targeting is a market that we need to create. So at the same time, we are requiring to convince the customers to do demonstrations, and that means that the clients are not so eager to take the risk of paying a commercial demonstrator, a commercial pilot. So normally we are requiring as well working capital for it. And basically the tax scheme gave us two things, and it's helping to solve those twofold problems. So on the one side, we have an asset that is this tax deduction, but it's an asset that we cannot use until we are making profit. And hopefully we will do it soon, but not at this time. And when we need the funding is now, right, to develop these R&D projects. So that is giving us funding to continue our journey and develop the technology. And on the second part, as I told you, these are new markets. Clients are risk averse, so basically you need to have partners around you where you can place your demonstrators, and basically this is giving us a opportunity to get to know Iberdrola. Now we are doing a project with Iberdrola, so you start to create a relationship there. And it's helping you on your journey as well to the market. So that is our experience.
Okay, thank you very much. I just have a question for you. And since we were speaking about policies in addition to these 64 bis, are you experiencing with the policy mix? So other policies that you are matching with this 64 bis, or is this more than enough to to pursue your research activity?
I mean, everything helps, I would say. So, I mean, in case I think it's a natural step. It's an ambitious and but a very good step to extend this into other areas such as energy transition, for instance. So for us, it will be also very important because our clients as well will have an incentive to try our technology. So in the end, it's a matter of defining well the priorities, and I think that Vizcaya is doing very, very well that, and being coherent, and as we were pointing out before, having a certain framework that will last for the next years.
Okay, thank you very much. Harry, would you like to summarize our findings?
I wanted first to make one observation. As academics, we are often eager to get our hands on fresh data. what we heard today was they did not know when they gave us the data what we were going to learn. So this is an act of courage as well as trust. They could trust that we would be objective and fair, but they had the courage to allow us to work with the data without knowing in advance what we were going to learn. So I just think that's remarkable, and it really itself, I think, is a contribution to the Biscaya ecosystem, to be able to share these kinds of data so we can study, we can learn, we can improve. And the fact you did not know what we were going to learn just impresses me greatly. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, everyone. And a big round of applause for our panelists. I don't know whether we are ready for the next part of the session now. We are ready? We do? Yeah, you can leave. Okay, thank you. So we are getting closer to the award ceremony, and the first ceremony that we are hosting tonight is the Best Practices Award. So I will like to ask Ruperto Calatrava, Dieudonné Coben, and Edouard Desan to come if they are ready. Not coming? Okay. This is a nice connection with all that we have spoken so far. So it's a moment where we have shown how practical open innovation can have an impact on society and on companies and on a region. And I was wondering, how come that this scheme is not being copied by everyone in the world? Are you aware of this? Is anybody trying to copy this? No, not yet? Okay. Do you have any questions for the panelists that we have so far, including about the paper that Henry presented? Yes, a question. Can we please get a microphone to... Yes? Henry, if you want, I believe there is a question. I don't know if...
So thank you very much for this inspiring presentation. So I have a question regarding the type of companies that are benefited by the 64B's incentives, since the two companies represented in the panel are big companies such as Iberdrola, Tecnalia, but what happens with the small and medium-sized enterprises? Considering the majority of firms in Vizcaya and Basque Country overall are small and medium-sized enterprises. So how many small and medium-sized enterprises are benefited by this precious incentive? This is one question, and the second one, the last one, I promise, is addressed to the politicians. I come from the other territory in the Basque Country, that is Gipuzkoa, and today I'm discovering America because I didn't know that this beautiful incentive was applied in the territory of Vizcaya. So my question is, why this incentive is not applied in the other territories inside the Basque Country?
Question, yeah.
Thank you very much. It is? Okay. So, great. If it is applied.
So who wants to take the question about the...
Okay, yeah. Well, we were the first ones, but also in Gipuzkoa and in Álava, We were the first ones, but also in Guipúzcoa and Álava, you have the same scheme. In the beginning, there were some differences. People from university are telling me yes, but now Guipúzcoa has just amended the regime, so it's almost exactly the same. And even we have, Álava and Vizcaya, we have introduced a reciprocity clause in the sense that we can have some cross investors from the other territories into our projects and the other way around. So it is in force, yes.
If she doesn't want.
Yes, just in my case, just to clarify, we are a spin-off of Tecnalia, but we are a separate entity, so we are a small entity. We started with 4 people, so in the end, I mean, we looked for other investors, etc. So I think that this is a very good scheme, at least as an innovator, as a developer, for small companies, small and medium companies.
No, Gorka said perfectly. Each contract has a financier and a financee. So I will say it is good for both. That's the key of the scheme, that is good for both. We can make deals, and the administration help us to do it with a very good framework and the collaboration of Bea, of course. So it's very, I think it's good for all.